Hello boys and girls, welcome to Mrs. Bandu's Math Movies. This is a lesson over fractions and decimals, which is lesson 2-6 for course 2. I've already written the first couple of definitions that we have. The first one is a terminating decimal is a decimal that stops or terminates. Remember, terminate also is another word for end, so a decimal that ends. A repeating decimal is a decimal in which the same block of digits repeats without end. Okay, we use bar notation to represent this. So let's say we divide something out and we get a 3 over and over and over again. We might write it like this. However, the best way to write it, the most convenient way to write it, is 0.3 with a bar over the digit or digits that are repeating. Okay. What we're going to be doing in this lesson is to convert between fractions and decimals. So our first example is writing a terminating decimal. Let me make that a little bit larger now that we have our definitions so we can see the numbers more easily. The total amount of rainfall yesterday was reported as 1/4 inch. Write this fraction as a decimal. Okay, so basically, literally this means 1/4 or 1 divided by 4. So I'm going to take a 1. The 1 goes inside the division sign. The 4 comes outside. I'm going to have to add a decimal point and some zeros so that I can divide this out. Okay. 4 does not go into 1, so you can put a 0 here. 4 goes into 10 twice, and that's 8. Subtract and you have 2. Then you bring down your 0. 4 times 5 is 20. The remainder is 0, so I do want to work in this case 2 until I get a remainder of 0 or that I see there is a pattern of something repeating. So 1/4 equals 25 hundredths or 0.25. The total amount of rainfall as a decimal is 25 hundredths of an inch. Example number 2 has us looking at writing a repeating decimal. So we follow the same method. We're going to take 7/15 or 7 divided by 15. And as we go through this, again, we're going to put in, add some extra zeros, a decimal point, and some zeros. 15 times 4 gives me 60. Subtract, I have 10 left over. Bring down the 0. 15 times 6 is 90. Whoops, excuse me. The 90 is already written. I should have written a 10 right here. When I subtract, I get 10. And what's going to keep happening is that no matter how many times I keep doing this, I'm going to keep ending up with a remainder of 10. And so on. So what's going to happen is the digit 6 is going to keep repeating. So this is 0.46 repeating, where the 6 is the repeating digit. Okay. Now, when you're using a calculator, and you can see I have one here, and yours may be somewhat similar, maybe different, but you're still just going to be doing a simple division problem. So you're going to do 7 divided by 15 equals, and you see that you get 0.466666. Depending on how your calculator is set up to round or truncate, you may end up, your last digit may be a 7 here. As long as you've seen that it's a whole bunch of 6s, just realize that your calculator is rounding that very last digit. So again, you're going to get 4.6 with a bar over the 6, or the repeating, excuse me, I said 4.6. 0.46 where the 6 repeats over and over again. So we would write that as 0.46, a bar over. Only 1 6 is necessary, and you really don't want to put a bunch of 6s and then put a bar over those 6s. So 0.46 with the 6 repeating is what we're looking at here in either method. You should be able to do both. This is, of course, the calculator makes it much more efficient, but you are able to divide by hand if you need to using pencil and paper. Okay, let's move on to our next example, and that's writing a decimal as a fraction. Okay, so we want to write 4.105 or 4 and 105 thousandths as a fraction in simplest form. Since 0.105 is 105 thousandths or 105 over 1,000, I can write the mixed number 4 and 105 thousandths simply by using my place value knowledge to do that. Okay, now we want to use our greatest common factor to write the fraction in simplest form. The greatest common factor for 105 and 1,000 happens to be 5. I'll give you that one. All right, and then 105 divided by 5 is 21. 1,000 divided by 5 is 200. And then, of course, I still keep my whole number 4. So, in simplest form, 4 and 105 thousandths is equal to 4 and 21 200ths, or 4 and 21 over 200 as my final answer. So you use your number sense and your place value knowledge to help you write a fraction for the decimal piece of the number, and then we want to use our factoring to help us simplify. Okay, now let's look at an application. In a survey of next year's 7th grade students, 0.25 or 25 hundredths said they will come to school by bus, 5/24 said they will walk, and 375 thousandths or 0.375 said they will come in a car, and 1/16 said they will ride their bicycles. Order the means of transportation from most to least used. Okay, so we're going to order these from most to least, or greatest to least, so to speak. Probably the most efficient way to do something like this is to turn everything into decimals. You already have 2 numbers that are decimals, and so we'll turn our other 2 fractions into decimals. So again, remember you want to take 5 divided by 24. Okay, like that. So 5 divided by 24. Go ahead and use your calculator, and you're going to get 0.2083333. The 3 is repeating. Only the 3 repeats, so I'm putting a bar only over the 3. Now, we will probably round this in a bit to look at 3 places, but I'm going to write that extra place in there just so I know what's going on. All right. Also, I want to find out the decimal equivalent for 1/16. So remember again, that's 1 divided by 16, and that gives me 0.0625. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I have 4 decimals here, and I'm going to put them in order. Since 0.375 is greater than 0.25, the next one in order would be 0.25. And 0.25 is greater than 0.208, which is also greater than 0.0625. The means of transportation are car, I match up, okay, 0.375 come with car, 0.25 will come on the bus, 0.0625 will walk, and finally 0.0625 will come on their bikes. I think I misspoke there. The 0.375 comes with the car, 0.25 with the bus, .208 will walk, and .0625 will bike. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I misspoke in matching up my decimals there momentarily. Also, remember, if you might find it helpful to write your decimals if you're getting confused on which one's greater or least. Remember, if you'll just write them and you can look at them. And basically, you can compare going down the line. This is the largest number because it's the largest number in the tenths place. The next place is to look at, so that one's out, okay? Now look at here. The next largest tenths would be a 2, so then I look at these twos. The 0.25 is greater than 0.20, so that's number 2. And then 0.208 is going to be greater than 0.0625. If it helps you to jot them down and line them up so that you can sort of take a peek at them, that's fine. Many of you are going to be able to do this in your head as well, and that as far as the comparison anyway, and that's fine. Okay, I would like you then, please, to be sure that you have the quick check questions. There are 4 of them. Have those completed for our next meeting in class, and I look forward to seeing you then. Thank you.